Testing, testing. All right. Good day, good day, good day, everybody out there. Today, I have here a pretty clear sunny morning on Sunday, and I'm enjoying that. I hope it's nice where you are. So, with that being said, it's going to take me a second to get my thoughts and everything together. But I want to thank you all for being here, and I appreciate all of you who have some time this morning to join in on my channel. Here at All for Success, I like to let you know this is a Sussex friendly space, which means it's also a friendly space in general. I like to get that out on the floor before anyone who joins in thinks that this is a shock channel or a attack channel. That's not what I'm working toward. Now, I'm a little new in this whole arena, but I'm trying to steadily do a little bit here and there to get myself working and my numbers up. And I appreciate all of you who are here to support that. So, All for Success, what we like to do is look at things sometimes from the viewpoint of parents with adult children. That is from where I make my commentary. And so you might think I say something that's a little bit old-fashioned or off-center, but it's because I'm looking at it as if I'm from another era. At least I'm not 20 years old. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you enjoy and you're having a great Sunday. Now, as you get ready to get prepared for Sunday school, if that's where you're going, or if you're out for a walk or you're running errands, grab yourself a cup of coffee, settle down, take a moment, get your thoughts together. This is how you make your Sunday list or your list before you go into the shops. And we'll do a little bit of chatting about some things we saw over the weeks, over the past couple of weeks, and I hope you all have some fun listening to my commentary about it. All right, so there you go. Grab your coffee and settle on in. And for those of you who are exercising or out walking, if you're exercising and out walking, the cool thing is, okay, we'll get to that picture there in a moment. We're not quite there yet, so just hang in there with me. All right, let's see if I can get to my slides, because what this was, folks, was, we'll talk about that. But for now, get up, get out, get your exercise in, stretch if you need to, if you have to. When you get around the age of parents of adult children, everything is stiff, everything is sore, and I really do hope I can work on working that out of my system, because I don't like it. I really don't like it. And so for all of us who would like to stay fit, stay healthy, join in all of the exercise that you need to do. But if that's what you're doing, you can listen to the chat while you're out exercising, walking, biking, or riding, right? So yes, let's do that. All right. So here's where we are in our world for Sussex support. You know what? As I am new to doing things on YouTube, and I mean new-ish, right? Not as well versed in how things work. It's sometimes curious to me that when I'm looking at my channel, every now and then I'll see people come into the channel, but then they'll immediately go out of the channel. And I often wonder, I'm just kind of counting those numbers, because I think that might not be actual people on the channel, but in fact it might be monitors to the channel, like someone who might just hop in to see if they can hear something that they don't like and maybe cause a problem for you and your channel. I am hearing from other people that that seems to be something common going on in the online spaces. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. I've noticed it. And so as a person who's learning some of the ins and outs, I find it somewhat interesting, right? But anyway, that's another topic for another day. So what we noticed here is back in view. All right, over the past couple of weeks, our wonderful Sussex family popped back out in view. There was a wonderful awards ceremony or service that was about to be happening for Tyler Perry. And as we who have been following the Sussex team are aware, that Tyler Perry played an integral role in helping Meghan and Harry get themselves a little bit more security, a little bit more time to relax, and to kind of get away from it all and plan their next move as they decided to move away from the UK royal family slash tabloids, right? Since they were being chased basically away from the UK royal family, but also hounded by the UK media, UK royal supported media, then they also looked for a way to get some support in making their journey. And you know, it's nice if you can contact a billionaire to give you a hand. And Tyler Perry was a person that came to mind for her. And I think it's beautiful that she thought of him. So Tyler Perry was receiving an award. It's called the Pele Award. And this award is to celebrate people who have achieved great things in the media space. So without a doubt, Tyler Perry opening Tyler Perry Studios and now becoming a producer of multiple types of productions himself is going to end up in that type of category. And he's doing an interesting and fantastic job. Of course, success never comes without controversy. And so I am one that hopes that he can navigate in and around whatever controversy comes his way. But there will be always controversy as you become successful. You know, there are going to be the naysayers and those who come along that simply are not going to support you as you rise to the top. And we'll have a little bit, we'll have a little bit more to comment on that as we talk about some of the day-to-day news. But anyway, in this wonderful photo of her, she looked gorgeous. We have to say she was so pretty. And she was wearing, someone commented, approximately $36,000 worth of diamonds around her neck. It was beautiful nonetheless. Now, I might be able to achieve that same look for maybe $20. But there was Meghan, and she was on site to show her appreciation to him and all that he has done for her family. Now, the other person to make an appearance was at a different place, and it was for book deal. And this was Harry, who was invited to the stage to be, I guess you call it an interview, but it is almost like a chat. So he was invited to come and have a wonderful discussion with the moderator for a book deal, and they might talk about different things that were in the books. They'll discuss things that he wanted to express, but then the interviewer or the moderator might just chat about what's happening in your real life. And so there were a couple of quotes that came out of this interview that sparked and in some cases outraged the attention from the UK. And one of those things was he was talking about whether he liked living in the United States or he was wanting to go back to the UK. Because you have to remember that in the UK media space, it is always printed that Harry is dying and trying and doing everything he can to try and get back to the UK, right? However, he said this out of his mouth, and it was interesting because normally they don't make public declarations like that. But he basically stated, I enjoy very much living here and bringing up his kids here. And he basically said that it's a part of his life he never thought that he was going to have. He was going to live this way. But then he continued on by saying that he believes living in the U.S. is something that his mom, his late mom, Princess Diana, would have wanted for him. Well, that's, of course, his perception. And from some media outlets, of course, on the UK, on the UK side of the tabloid world, and on the tabloid supported side of the US, they thought that they needed to make commentary about that or have pause about it, to say things to the effect. And who I watched, and I know you all, if you're super squatties, you've seen these things, but the people who were commenting were folks like Richard Eden. I can't remember, there are several other talk shows where people were speaking about how they thought Harry may or may not have felt. And it was just interesting because after he made this statement, it basically is one of those things that's public clarification that everything that you read in the tabloids to the contrary is not true, at least at this time, right? Then they had the discussion of another concept, which was how many times in the UK tabloid press or in the UK tabloid media someone is expressing the fact that Harry and Meghan are almost about to break up, or Harry and Meghan are going to split up and divorce. And the interesting thing that they do when they mention this breakup that's potential, they never talk about the children, right? They never make any commentary about whether or not the children are going to go to the UK or the children are going to stay in the US. It is almost as if they have a conversation about him leaving Meghan as if nothing else exists, like he has no family. Many people have noticed this and pointed it out, right? It's very troubling, but it lets you know how the opposition sees this situation and why they turn this situation into opposition. But I believe early in the year, as the court cases continue to move forward, I think we're going to find a little bit more out about that. Now, earlier, before that, they also did remember to honor and emphasize children's safety online, which is one of their key focuses, which is an excellent focus. And I mean, everyone in the world is understanding that working in the online spaces at this moment, we really can't avoid it. But as much as we can't avoid working in online spaces of this nature, as much as we cannot avoid it, you still have to be a little bit cautious and try to pay attention to the various things that can happen online, because it is like navigating a minefield. And so they're still very key proponents in that arena. And I thought it was wonderful. So what's happening is, and what is very obvious, is that Harry and the Sussex family basically equal a global phenomena. That no matter how he's perceived or talked about in the UK media, no matter how much they try to bring them down, there are forces in the world that simply are going to see the UK media for what it is, which is kind of an attack force. And it would appear that they are an attack force in support of the royal family. And we wonder, for what reason do they feel they need to be in that attack posture? But many people in the world are beginning to understand that they don't deserve this treatment, and that in fact, what he has been explaining is factual and based on fact. But of course, the UK tabloid press would like to try to encourage you, if they think they can capture your mind and make you believe what they're saying, then you have to believe, one, that Harry is crazy, or he's drug addicted, or that he's being forced, manipulated. Meghan is evil. I mean, all of a sudden, a person who really wasn't very well known as far as the worldwide population, but they're the most evil person on the planet. And And in that way, they have become the most capable evil person on the planet, right? So on one side of their head, they talk about how awful she is, how unimpressive she is. On one side of their head, they say this, and then they spin their head around on the other side and talk about her being the most adept criminal mastermind on the planet. So, you have to look at these things from the perspective of reality, right? We can't make accusations really about the people behind it. You just have to look at what's happening and pay very close attention. So, again, psyops. It would appear that one of the things that was missed by the UK senior royal was due to health. They had issues with their health. And so they weren't able to be out and about in front of some of these dignitaries that were coming to the big palace, Buckingham Palace. And I think at Buckingham Palace they were trying to have whatever pomp and circumstance type of events that they could have prior to having to shut the building down because they're going to be doing some renovations. But there's one portion where one of the senior royals didn't attend, and it became noticeable, if for those of us who are paying a little bit of attention, that it seemed we opted out one of the positions for the Queen when the Princess of Wales actually attended. So if Princess of Wales was in attendance, it appears that the Queen was not in attendance, right? Now, there's nothing being alleged about that. It's just noticeable, right? And people see it and they wonder, does it have any meaning? Does it indicate anything? Because speculating about what they do with every moment of their day is part of being in that family. And it is often said that the senior members actually do not get along in the way that we see a family getting along, because they operate very much like competing businesses, right? So for whatever reason, this is how they see themselves. And I just copied a picture from from a clipping, where someone was indicating that the success of Harry and Meghan seems to create humiliation for the actual UK royal family. Now, they were doing great things. They were entertaining and getting ready to have a massively grand benefit involving a state visit. And that state visit was from the representation from Qatar. Now, the reason that they have these state visits, the reason that they have these grand functions is, for example, Qatar is a gas-rich Gulf state, and they invest billions of dollars in Britain. And so what they want to do is to continue to foster these wonderful relationships with these wealthy nations, because you never know when you might have to call on or get backing from a wealthier nation. And Britain, of course, as wealthy as it is, as far as style and modernization, some of these oil-rich nations out of the Middle East, they have a type of wealth that is incomparable. And they support a lot of causes in the West. So they actually had the state visit, and it was supposed to be, a wonderful event. And of course, they featured the fact that they invited David and Victoria Beckham to this state visit. I don't have any, I just want to say, I don't necessarily have any positive or negative feeling towards David and Victoria Beckham. As it was known, they were somewhat friendly towards Harry and Meghan, or it appeared that they would have been very good friends or very good interactive partners. But what they've done is they created a situation where David and Victoria Beckham have to look like they have cut ties with Harry and Meghan in order to foster a more profitable relationship with the actual King and Prince William. And it's really sad that the UK royals and Britain itself must always create conflict and competition. You know, it is really something, and I'm going to veer off track, but it's really something that you have to pay attention to worldwide, is that we live in this world of duality all the time. The right, the left, the up, the down, the in, the out, the have-nots. And it's really interesting because this formula is used worldwide and continuously to maintain conflict among people. And when you can create division and conflict, whoever has studied this particular divisive strategy, they've become very adept and aware that they can control almost everything because everyone else is fighting amongst themselves. And that is, of course, one of the situations or the position that poor David and Victoria have been placed in. That they must be seen in opposition. And so, because he is seen in opposition, the potential dangling over his head of you might become a knight. You know, you may receive a knighthood. And I'm not sure if once you receive the title of knight in Britain, it probably equals some type of funding or money or some type of opportunities because you have become a knight of the realm or whatever. All of these things usually have some kind of monetary benefit or benefit of stature. But anyway, David Beckham and his wife were invited to this state dinner, and it could have simply been for the reason that, you know, being a soccer player of his stature, he also did play in Qatar. Qatar, Dubai, and I believe it was United Arab Emirates, all three of those super, super rich nations started to do things like attempt to field U.S. and Western or British sports. And they started to court many of the top tier players in these fields. And they were paying these players so much more than they would have made in the United States to simply be in a tournament or to appear on a team in their country, because they were trying, I'm sure, to get themselves some fairly decent press. So that's one of the things that I just find interesting about the whole David Beckham and Victoria Beckham storyline. Being in and around Prince Harry and Meghan would not afford them the type of step up that they needed. However, by them also joining the team of we are going to shun Harry and Meghan and we're going to show our full-throated support to the rest of the senior royals, that for whatever reason, that show of loyalty or fealty might earn him the coveted knighthood that for whatever reason he wishes to achieve. So they were on hand for that wonderful state dinner. Now remember, all of this is coming and happening on the back end, right? Even though these things are happening in the UK, even though this state dinner is going on in the UK, and this is the level of stardom that has marched out for these particular events. If you were to turn on the UK press, they spent more time still talking about, guess who? They spent more time actually speaking about what Harry said at his book deal interview. And that is what is going to keep happening to them. And that's because their particular brand of exposure is becoming less interesting because it's painted over the trials and tribulations of regular people. So they're not understanding why they are having such a difficult time being adored by the people. They just don't get it. Okay, so before I move on a little bit real quick, I just want to let you all know thank you so much again for being here. I appreciate you guys who are here. Let's see if there's anyone in the chat that I need to say hello to. All right, the only person I see here in the comments section right now is Keen for Concepts. Says hello at all. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to say to you guys as well, welcome to the channel. Also, tap the like button if you get a chance. I always love it if you give me a thumbs up. It lets people know, hey, I'm actually listening. So we just take a short break and let's just push that like button and let everyone know that you want to tap the likes and the not likes. If well, I hope you don't hit the not likes. But if you feel you have to, I get it. And of course, thank you again, King for Concepts, for saying hello to everyone. And I'm not sure if I'm missing other people in the chat. I hope I'm not. But I want to say hello to you if you are out there. Thank you as well. And I see we have some folks that did tap that like button. Don't forget to do that. That's good for me. But you know what happened to me one time? People were hitting the like button and it wasn't registering. And I'm like, why is this not counting? There must be something I'm not doing to a button or something I failed to click. But we're going to we're going to hope that will eventually push on through. But thank you all for being here, even if I'm missing you. And like I promised, I will not hold you too long. So moving on pretty quickly. What we are getting ready for, everyone, get yourself together because Invictus Winter is about to get started. So we're going to be on standby for that. I'm excited, excited, excited. And we're going to be waiting and watching and holding our breath. Now, what's not in my slide deck, but I do want to mention, is the fact that the Netflix special about polo will be starting as well. And if I'm not mistaken, by looking at the wonderful preview of it, it appears it's going to give you this kind of a reality show feeling to it. And I bet that is going to be hysterical. So if you get a chance, check out the preview for the polo production that will be airing on Netflix. It looks to me, it's kind of interesting because it'll be telling you a little bit about the people who play polo and it'll be actually tracking their lives and some of the difficult choices they have to make because they love polo as much as they do. So I want to see that, and I'm hoping to see some characters in there that I may not be aware of or know anything about, but it'll be interesting to see who they are and what exactly they do in that field, like some of the things they're doing. But being able to ride a horse well is like the number one requirement in that polo arena. So we'll be looking forward to that. And like I said, isn't it great? It's great. It's great. Uh-oh. All right. So here we are. Believe it or not, I'm about at the end of the wrap-up of this short chat. I'm going to be looking into some other details and trying to put up a video here or there because there are several folks and several videos that I have seen and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to have to comment on this because what I'm seeing reported here in the press or in the media is hysterical. And some of these people, after Harry's appearance at Book Deal, they were visibly sad because he was very clear that he was very clear that so many stories had been made up about him. So many lies basically were told about him and Meghan. Everyone's standing around hoping that they fail at what they do. And he basically said, I feel sorry for you. I really do. And it was interesting because he said, I feel so sad for all of you, the trolls, who you're just hoping that someone fails. And it was really interesting to watch the personalities that next day commenting on this particular comment, because he made it clear that you are just simply angry and sad because you can't see destruction, right? So, in that, here's where we are. You know how I do. I come up to a final thought process, and I always tell you guys, sometimes I find a Bible verse that will make me laugh about something, or it'll bring a thought to my mind, and I just can't help but make a note or a comment about it. So, the beginning, to let you know, I am not trying to take you into a cult of any kind, not trying to recruit you to any type of religion or practice, but I want to say to you that Bible verses are something that is part of my growing up, my childhood, and so I just like to share what I read sometimes and what I think about it when I read it. So I wanted to let you all know that after this event, the big, wonderful state dinner, there was also the grand reopening of Notre Dame in France. And Notre Dame is that gigantic, wonderful cathedral in Paris, which is known throughout the world for its pageantry, stature. It's huge. And of course, any of those of you who like the old movies, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is is an old movie about the bell ringer and how he fell in love and yada yada yada. It's an old movie, but Notre Dame is extremely famous, and so it had caught fire about 5 years or so ago, bad fire, and they had to do a lot of work to fix it and refurbish it, and they reopened it. So for this reopening, it was just as much pomp and circumstance as the state dinner at Buckingham Palace. Leaders from all over the world were there to join I think it's President Macron of France, to celebrate the reopening. We had Jill Biden there from the U.S. You had upcoming President Donald Trump came in. You had dignitaries from various islands there. It was really interesting to see quite a number of people. But I wanted to point out that please forgive me for that wonderful mess that I just made. I have to say, sorry, I had technical difficulties. I'm not sure what that was about. Does anyone know what was going on? I lost sound for a moment. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to back up through my slide deck here real quick. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so really quickly, as I kind of peruse back through all of the slides I had, I just wanted to comment on the fact that at Notre Dame, as I was saying, they were different people coming in from all over the world. But coming into the door, it would appear that there's this wonderful photo op of our up-and-coming president and the UK Prince William. And so people were wondering, like, you know, is this supposed to mean something in particular? Does this indicate anything in particular? Does it indicate, like, let's put our heads together and cause grief for Harry and Meghan? Or does it mean I'm just excited to meet you and this photo op makes me look like I'm really getting involved in global events? And it's interesting because after this event, they did go together to an office, I guess at the embassy, to be photographed again, as if there was like a type of meeting with our future president. And in his stead, Prince William was stepping in for the king. So it was as if it was a meeting between our future president and the king of the UK. So I'm not sure if that was a photo op for the both of them, to be of an advantage for the two of them. You know what I mean? Like, was this to help one or the other, or do they both believe that it's a positive scene for both of them? Like, we're wonderful and great guys, so here's a photo of us for all of our wonderful supporting people. And my theory is the answer is somewhere in between. That both of these people felt that there was an advantage to this wonderful handshake, backslap, photo op, chit chat. Now I don't know what the chit chat might have involved, but when you think of who these people are, I can't see anything really good coming out of it, right? Now I know that's awful for me to say, but that's just weirdly how I feel. It doesn't feel good to me. And that's what I want to do is say for everyone, just remember that handshake, backslap, scene moment. Just remember that moment. And then maybe over the next few years of our lives, let's see if that moment has a feeling, if the feeling that I received when I saw that, if you get a sense of what that feeling might have originated from. So with that being said, as I was about to go over my little Bible verse before I wrap it up, I want to drag you guys over to, in the Bible, 1 Peter, because what they're saying here in this little verse is kind of one of those reminders to be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking to devour. Remember, that's the only purpose that it has when it's hungry. So I like to say that and then note that all this I will give you is what was offered to Jesus. If you get a chance to check out Deuteronomy, for those of you who are interested in any kind of Bible scholarship, there is a period where it would appear that the adversary was making an offer to Jesus to basically exchange for him. He would give him anything in the world. Now, it's interesting because he didn't say that Jesus had to actually give up anything in particular. Not at that time. He just basically said he wanted him to bow down and worship him. Right? So he's basically saying to Jesus, I'll give you everything that you can see Just look around. Everything that's out here, I'll give it to you. If you simply bow down and worship me. So you have to think about that. Again, I'm going to be reminded back to people who might have made that deal, whether it was to a person on earth, a king, or a family member, or the UK tabloids. But if you dishonored yourself and your own, let's say, morality of thought for what's right or wrong, but you instead chose to bow down and worship someone else, whether it's you chose to show loyalty and fealty to the kingship or loyalty and fealty to the UK tabloid press and their pursuit and degradation of everyday citizens as well as Harry and Meghan. And you were promised either money or, in some cases, maybe you were promised a knighthood. But you did all that because you just bowed down and worshiped, right? But what Jesus did is he rebuked that. In other words, he turned his back on that and he was saying, away from me, Satan, away from me. He said, for it's written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. And so sometimes I think we have to keep that in mind as we watch all of these people dance around and try to gain favor from whether it's future presidents, okay, whether they're trying to gain favor from billionaires, whether they're trying to gain favor from kings that reign or future kings, right? They're trying to gain favor from all of these different elements. Just remember that Satan offered everything if you will bow down and worship. So you just have to think about that in terms of how far you might be willing to go or how far other people are willing to go in order to gain whatever it is they're looking at, whatever they think they see at that time, whatever they think they can achieve, right? Because it would appear that Satan will offer it to you. So with that being said, I just want to tell you guys again, thank you all for being here and participating in this wonderful little chat with me. And I am going to always say thanks. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. And you know how I do. I always give you a crowd applause. You guys, thank you for hanging in here with me as I am trying to learn the ropes in this game. And I'm getting better. Okay, so look out for more to come. Take a great day and have a great time and enjoy your afternoon.